As you know, we've just started the webcast feature of AreWeLivingInTheLastDays.com. The original plan for the webcast was to start with the topics found in our articles page. That way, with both the articles and the webcast, we could give you a much more in-depth look at these topics. We still want to do that, but with the healthcare bill now being signed into law, we believe it's very important to switch focus to the information written about in the Road Ahead section. If you're listening, or if you've listened to the first webcast already, The Start of God's Prophetic Clock, then you know the reason it had to be the first one is because if you know when God's prophetic clock started, it's much easier to see what's happening around you for what it truly is. The importance of this healthcare bill being signed into law cannot be overstated. We believe that the events you can read about in the Road Ahead section are now going to start to unfold at a fairly rapid pace. So why is the signing of this healthcare bill so important? Well, there are some very despicable and evil things that will happen due to this healthcare bill, and I'll touch on some of those, but what is really important as far as how it pertains to prophecy and where we are in prophecy is twofold. First, this healthcare bill will play a large and center stage role in the collapse of the dollar in the U.S. economy, which will give rise to a global government with a global currency. The collapse of the dollar in the economy is going to be one of our next webcasts, and we'll discuss how the healthcare role is center stage in that. But here, and arguably most important, is the fact that within this law is the requirement that all U.S. citizens receive an under-the-skin RFID chip that will be tied to your bank account. Now, if you're listening to this and somewhere in the back of your mind you're thinking this can't be the case, or this is an overstatement, or maybe just a paranoid misrepresentation, please keep listening and read the article in our Road Ahead section of the site. If you do, you'll see with your very own eyes that this is the truth. There is no effort by the part of those who are doing this to hide these facts. It's out in the open for anyone who chooses to look at it. I want to first give you background information into what exactly RFID technology is and how it got to this point. I know you probably want to get right to the healthcare information, but please bear with me. It's important to have this background information to truly understand this situation and what's going on. In our article dealing with healthcare, in our Road Ahead section, we start by saying under the skin RFID, which stands for radio frequency identification, chip technology is not theory, and it's not still in development. This technology is fully developed, and it's in the production/marketing stages. I want to play two videos for you, both newscasts, one from CNN and the other from NBC.
Lou Dobbs Tonight.
An Ohio company has become the first American firm to implant silicon chips in employees to track their every move. Don't be surprised if your company asks to tag you in the years ahead. Bill Tucker has the story.
Sean Darks, chief executive of CityWatcher.com, didn't want to ask his employees to do anything he wouldn't do, so he had this chip embedded under his skin. The chip has an access code for admittance into a room holding security footage for government agencies and police. For Darks, the tiny chip is a security solution. No IDs for employees to lose. They can't. It's right there in their arm.
Actually, it's an inexpensive solution versus a retina scanner or a fingerprint ID. Those solutions are rather expensive. This solution is inexpensive as far as compared to those.
Less expensive and less secure. The chips themselves don't contain any personal information, but they do contain a key to information. Unencrypted information that Jonathan Westhuse, a software developer in Canada, says he found relatively easy to copy, meaning he could become Sean Darks in the eyes of a machine if he wanted to. Then there is the issue of privacy and whether employers might start demanding employees get the chip implanted as a form of ID.
Certainly you have a choice on whether or not you want to take employment somewhere, but as we market through our distributors to the employer community, one of the things we emphasize in the privacy policy and the materials that are distributed is the fact that the product should be a voluntary product.
Sounds good, but people who work on privacy issues point out that the workplace has seen a steady erosion of privacy rights.
In the 1980s, you take a polygraph test to get a job. In the 1990s, it was drug testing. A little later on, it was reading your email. And in each step along the line, you start to ask the question, is the law going to create any zones of safety?
When and where does that line get drawn? Privacy right groups invoke the image of Big Brother watching. Some on the Christian right call them the mark of Satan. People who contemplate the future are excited about the possibilities. After all, it just puts us this much closer to realizing a marketer's dream, as shown in this scene from the movie Minority Report.
Now, many of us carry around an equivalent to this tiny little chip already, only they don't look like this, they look like this. It's an ID card, which we need to electronically release the locks where we work. Of course, the difference is, Lou, when I get home from work, I can put this card down and walk away from it.
More now of our special coverage here tonight, life in the U.S. in 10 years' time. By that time, there may be all kinds of new ways to safeguard and identify all those things that make each of us unique, our faces, even our fingerprints, even our eyes. Here now with more on the future of technology, NBC's Tom Costello.
The year is 2017. You're rushed to a hospital unconscious with no ID or medical history, but thanks to a microchip under your skin, it's all there. Science fiction 20 years ago, but a biometric reality today.
The technology is based on answering one simple question. Am I who I say I am?
Already, fingerprints and iris scans verify passenger identities at airports. Within 10 years, that technology may be even more widespread. And look for more complex facial recognition programs that scan a crowd of thousands looking for a single terrorist. Today's facial recognition software starts with the eyes. Then it maps out the contours of the face and compares that against a database of millions, a database that's growing by the day. What's next? At the University of Bath in England, researchers predict big changes for consumers.
I think it is possible to free us completely of our wallets and keys using biometric technology, if that's what people want in 10 years' time.
In fact, it's already here. The latest home security locks use fingerprints to control deadbolts. And at the Jewel Osco grocery store in Chicago, some customers pay using their fingerprints. No paper or plastic.
You don't really need anything other than your hand, and you already got that with you.
So will future department stores scan our irises, like in the movie Minority Report, then offer products catered to who we are?
Hello, Mr. Yakamoto. Welcome back to the Gas.
Experts say that technology is here now. The challenge is to safeguard our privacy in a brave new world. Tom Costello, NBC News, Alexandria, Virginia.
So you think NBC might know something we don't? Applied Digital Solutions, ADS, owners of Verichip, are the world's leader in this technology. ADS, in their words, are positioning themselves to become the primary provider of theft-proof identity technology by which financial companies such as American Express, Discover Card, and others can offer their services